What's up, what's up, what's up? Clint Cosgrove here, Director of Midwest Scouting at National Preps, former college coach. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Clint_Cosgrove. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you hear anything that you like today or want to learn more about the recruiting process. Today's topic, money season. All right, what is money season? Money season is camp season. And why is camp so important to the college football recruiting process? Well, because nothing, I repeat, nothing trumps the in-person evaluation, and that's what these camps are used for. And why do I call it money season? Because there's arguably no better way for you as a prospect to show up on a campus or field without any scholarship offer and leave with your college paid for. Now, that being said, in order to make that dream a reality, there are certain things that you need to do before the camp season, all right? And that's choosing which camps to go to correctly, gauging interest, and those are just a couple of the topics that I'm going to cover. Now, this is a topic that has a ton of variables. Obviously, somebody who has no offers is going to be different than somebody who has a lot of offers. Underclassman is going to be different than a guy going into his senior year. So I'm going to try to break that down into different categories and really get you schooled up on how to make the most out of this camp season. So first, I will go over what to do if you have offers. How do you choose the camps to go to? How do I know where I should go based off what coaches are interested in me? Do I have committable offers? Who's trying to get me to go to camp and earn an offer? Then I'm going to go over if you do not have any offers. That's my dog Biscuit. Thanks, Biscuit. I'm going to go over if you don't have any offers. What should you do? How should you decide your camps? How can you prepare for the camps to make sure that you're going to the right places and give yourself an opportunity to earn those offers? And then lastly, I'll cover what to do if you're an underclassman. How do you know which camps to go to? Should you go to camps? So all of that will be covered today. Hopefully you're ready to listen and learn, and I look forward to going over it all. So what if I'm a junior going into my senior year and I don't have any offers? Okay, now no offers doesn't mean that nobody's recruiting you. You could be a player who has a lot of recruitment going on, in touch with a lot of schools, but don't necessarily have a spot right now. And then on the other hand, you could be a prospect that has talked to 0 coaches, have no idea where you sit in the recruiting process, maybe nobody's come through school, and maybe you're a little off the radar right now. Okay? With both of these situations, you need to be really precise with which camps that you choose to go to. All right? If you're somebody who has had some interest, has talked to college coaches, they've talked to you in person, they've maybe talked to you on the phone, and they're trying to get you to go to camp, that's a good indication. If coaches are talking to you on the phone or have come to visit you in person and just want to see you work out, that's a good indication of maybe a camp that you should go to. Okay, you need to gauge interest when deciding which camps to go to. All right, there are schools that will send out camp invites that could have my name on it, they could have your mom's name on it, they could have anybody's name on it, inviting you to their camp. Okay, if that is all you receive, that's not necessarily legitimate interest. Okay, you need to gauge that. Legitimate interest would be a handwritten note from a college coach inviting you to their camp, a call on the phone. Those are the kind of signs that you're looking for when deciding which camps to go to if you are a prospect that has had some contact with college coaches. A mass invite doesn't necessarily mean that they're recruiting you, but it also doesn't necessarily mean they aren't. That means you're on a list somewhere in their program, in their database. So really what you want to do, if you haven't had personal contact with a coach and you have received a camp invite, try to reach out to them. Okay, we've gone over some of the rules of spring recruiting. They get one call. They can use electronic communication, that sort of thing. Maybe you're on a list, but they haven't necessarily identified you and done a full evaluation. And that's why it's important, if you're going to spend money and resources to go to a camp, make sure you find out, is it legitimately worth your time? Email the coach who recruits your areas. Call the football office. Get an idea if you're the type of prospect that they're looking for. Are they even recruiting your position still? Do they still have offers left? Find out if it's worth your time to go to that camp. Don't just show up unannounced. And this goes for people who haven't had any contact as well. Don't show up unannounced. Anytime you are going to go to a college camp, whether it's a school that's, recruited you in person, a coach has contacted you, or a school that you've just been getting mass mailings from or something like that, make sure you reach out to them, engage your interest, make sure it's worth you going to their camp. Because here's what happens if you don't. A lot of kids just show up to camp and they want to earn a scholarship. And even if you do a great job, you got to remember, there's going to be 10 to 15 other kids at that camp that school has been recruiting at your position that have a leg up in the recruiting on you already. So no matter how well you do, and unless you test out, lights out, 4.40, something that jumps off the board, it's going to be really hard to separate yourself and vault over those other guys they've already been recruiting, because there's some familiarity with those guys. They've done the evaluation process. They were probably there in spring recruiting. So that's really something that's hard to overcome. So what you want to do to prepare yourself so the coaches are prepared to evaluate you and kind of have an idea of who you are beforehand is make sure you make that contact. Find out if you're a legitimate recruit, if you have a chance to earn a scholarship offer, if you go to their camp and do a great job. Okay? Really important. A lot of people think they can just show up and earn a scholarship, and although it does happen, because if you're one of those guys who's pretty walking off the bus, you've got all the measurables, you go there and test well, that's a way where you can, catapult over people who have been recruited already, but not a high percentage of guys fall into that category. So it's really important to make contact with the coaches before you go there, and then also really sit down and assess where you are in the recruiting process. If I haven't heard from any coaches, I haven't got any mailings or anything like that, you're really going to want to make sure you hit all division levels when you're going to these camps. Now, I'm not just saying because you haven't heard from anybody, you got to go to D3 camps or whatever it is. Try to hit camps that are going to have coaches from Division I level all the way down to Division III. You want to cover your bases, okay? And it might be a dream school at the camp. Yeah, you can reach out to them as well, but also make sure that the FCS, Division II, Division III schools that are going to be at that camp know you're coming so they can get an evaluation of you. The last thing you want to do is spend your time and money going to compete at a camp, do a great job, but nobody saw you. So really assess where you are in the recruiting process, because the last thing you want to do is be one of those guys, and it happens every year. They do have the measurables, they do have the film, they do have everything, but they only went to their dream school camps, okay? They went to the biggest schools in the nation when they didn't have any offers, when maybe if they would have gone to an FCS camp, an FBS camp, a mid-major school, something like that, they could have gotten the offer process going from lower level schools, all right? So just like somebody with a finance degree wouldn't go and try to get a job as a brain surgeon, you just don't want to do that sort of thing. Try to go to places that you're qualified for. You don't have to be qualified for every school there, but make sure the schools that you are qualified for as an athlete know you're coming, know to evaluate you, and then at the end of the day, you can have a better idea where you stand, and you might even earn a scholarship. Now, how about those of you who have offers? And when I say offers, I mean committable offers. There's going to be people who are juniors going into their senior year that might have picked up, 2 or 3 FBS offers over the spring eval period or earlier. Those offers aren't always forever. So it's really important to make sure that you still have that committable offer, that schools are still recruiting you, because sometimes they've filled up at positions, you haven't heard from them in a while, so that's important. If you don't have any committable offers, you're kind of in the last category that I discussed. Now, if you do have committable offers, you're really in the driver's seat. You can be really choosy over which schools you want to camp with. A couple reasons that you might choose to go to a camp is you choose the schools that you're really interested in. Possibly you want to commit to them, but you want to see what it's like to be on that campus, to get coached by those coaches. That's a great reason to go to a camp. You can really feel out what it would be like to be a player there. Okay, that's one good reason to go to a camp and choose a camp to go to. For kids who have maybe multiple committable offers, but they're looking for that dream school offer. Okay, same thing is with the guys who didn't have offers. Well, that dream school, they might be interested in you, but same thing. You want to reach out beforehand, touch base, make sure that they know you're coming, and find out, is that a legitimate chance that if you show up and do everything that you can do and promise that you could do, and they like you, could you leave that camp with an offer? All right, so those are the 2 big things that you would want to go to camps for if you do have multiple offers: to earn bigger offers, or to maybe find out what it would be like to be coached by those coaches, to be on that campus, to see what the dorm rooms are like. It's kind of a day in the life of a college football player at that school. So that can be really helpful when it comes down to deciding which schools you want to go to. But if money and time and resources are not available, you really, if you have committable offers, you don't have to go to camps. Okay? You do not have to go to camps. Now, like I said, it could be a great opportunity to learn more, but you don't have to. The only reason to really go to camps is to experience it or to try to earn other offers. Okay? Or if you just like to compete, that's okay too. But if resources are limited, just remember that you have committable offers. You don't have to camp. But as they always say, those offers don't last forever. So if you'd like to try to rack up some more to ensure yourself, kind of have a safety policy, maybe get some lower division offers, whatever it may be, that's another great reason to go to camps. Now, the last category that I'm going to discuss when it comes to this video and going to camps and money season is, what do I do if I'm an underclassman? I'm just starting the recruiting process. Maybe I played some varsity, maybe I didn't. I want to go to college camp. Should I? What should I do if I do go? This is a really complicated question because there's really so many variables. Just like the recruiting process, you can't just say, oh, it starts freshman year or sophomore year or junior year. It really starts when you're ready for the recruiting process. If you're a freshman, you played varsity football, you've got all the measurables already, then you might want to start, looking at going to camps. If you're an underclassman and you just want to experience, maybe going to your favorite school, walking on that field, getting coached by college coaches, by all means, feel free to go. The thing that you want to be prepared for, though, is if you're not necessarily ready to get evaluated by college coaches, you don't want to approach the camp like it's a recruiting opportunity. Because let's say I am a freshman, I didn't play varsity, I'm 5'8", and 130 pounds, and I'm a pretty good football player, but I show up there and there's a bunch of grown men around me competing. You don't want to approach that as a recruiting camp for you. More of an experience, more of a learning opportunity, but don't approach it from a recruiting standpoint if you're not ready to be recruited. Okay? And the reason I say that is you don't want to leave a bad impression. You don't want them to remember the little kid who hadn't grown, couldn't play yet. So just approach it like any other camper, like you would if you're going to a middle school camp or something like that, if you're in that situation. Now, if you're in the first situation I talked about, where you're a grown man as a freshman or a sophomore, and you want to go and actually start the recruiting process, maybe you have offers, really look back to the last two categories that I talked about. You want to identify schools that may have interest. You want to let them know that you're coming, because remember, even though they can't call you as a freshman or a sophomore, there is no rules against you contacting them. So you're more than welcome to call the office, try to get on the phone with the coach that recruits your area, find out if it's worth your time to go. Okay? Now, another thing with that, maybe you are a freshman or sophomore and you are already being recruited, ready to be recruited in the recruiting process. Be careful with which camps you go to as well. Maybe you don't have offers and you decide that your first offer, you want it to be a Power 5 national recruiting team, and you show up there trying to earn your first offer. Probably not going to happen unless you're a freak. So you're much better off trying to start and get offers from maybe lower level teams in the Division I level, mid-majors, group of 5 schools. All right, then you can really, maybe leapfrog a lot of the competition by getting those early offers. Then you're on the radars of bigger schools, and it can just set you up for success in the future. So there's really a couple ways to look at this as an underclassman. Am I ready to be recruited? Okay, if I am, then I probably want to approach it like the juniors that I talked about, with or without offers going into camps. And if I'm not ready to be recruited, but I love football, I want to compete, I want to go and see what it'd be like to be coached by college coaches, just approach it in a different manner. Don't try to make it a recruiting thing, try to make it an experience thing, a time to get better, and then that way when you're ready, you can really start making contact with the coaches and get on their radars and give yourself a chance to get an honest evaluation, not one that was a evaluation from when you weren't ready. Okay, so I tried to be as broad as possible with this because there's just so many variables in the camp process, but the few things that I really wanted to get across, no matter who you are, make sure the coaches know you're coming, all right? There's nothing worse than showing up somewhere to get an evaluation, do a good job, and nobody saw you. That is one of the biggest things that I want you to take away. Be realistic, go to camps. If you're going for recruiting purpose, go to camps where you have a shot, where coaches have shown some interest. If you don't have interest, try to get it before you go to camp so you got some momentum going in. Reach out to coaches. And really, there's just so many variables. So if you have any questions about that, please leave it in the questions section. Also, I've gotten some more questions about camps that I'll cover in my Q&A videos that I'll be doing soon, such as how to prepare for a camp, what to expect when you get there. I'll cover those things. But if you have any questions pertaining to camps, please leave them in the questions section. You can email askcoachkaz@gmail.com, where I'll try to cover some of those in my videos as well. So hopefully you learned something about camps. Hopefully you know how to make that money during money season. And look forward to talking to you soon about some other things that I've been asked through the email, on Twitter, and in the comments section below. All right, talk to you soon.